Hi, I'm Lucas Mack, and I'm on a mission to see the hurting get healed and the healed go out and heal others, in order for all of us to experience the true love and light we desire. This podcast is me sharing my journey with you, so you don't feel alone in your journey. Welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to another episode of the Golden Rule Revolution. I hope you are all feeling peace, staying in your body, staying in love, trusting in the sovereignty of love and light, for there is no greater power. Everything is going to be okay. I promise you everything. And I've talked about the Great Awakening, but we are about to enter the Great Healing. And that is really what is about to take place, the Great Healing, where we will be one, but it will take humility, it will take tears, it will take finally letting go of being right to instead stand in the place of being whole and being permission and creating space and holding space for others to come out of the pain and trauma that they're in so that they can be whole as well. I'm so excited for what's about to take place. I'm so excited that you are on the journey of love and light. And speaking of love and light, my guest is coming back today for her second episode, Daniela Sage. This dear sister is such a blessing. I am excited that you're going to listen to this. I felt so blessed after talking to her on this episode. And everyone listening, you can listen to what I'm talking about, she's talking about. Take it, integrate it into your own life, your own heart, your own mind, and be just grounded in love and light. These aren't euphemisms. These aren't esoteric, ethereal, woo-woo. These are the most powerful forces, vibrations, and energies that you can attune to. So be in love. I bless you all. My sister Daniela, thank you for coming back for this episode. And everyone, here we go.
Thank you so much for inviting me back and for being the big brother that you are and just expressing so much unconditional love and really harnessing that divine masculine presence, which is so needed on this planet right now. Yeah. So women like myself can feel safe and then open up and blossom and share more of our wisdom and gifts freely.
It is so, first of all, it's an honor and it's so beautiful to see the blossoming and the masculine. I was going to do a TED talk and it's 2:22 right now. This is beautiful. I was going to do a TED talk, but it got canceled because of the lockdowns and all those things. But the talk was around when men heal, the world heals, essentially, because I really believe that men are so lost right now they have an innate desire to conquer and be seen and known and build and all these things that I think are really like in the core essence of that masculine spirit. But when it's wounded, it just keeps taking and taking and taking and taking and needing the mob or the masses to be around it. And this is true for me, and I'll share a story in a sec, but needing a group of people around them to feel safe, which isn't healthy masculinity. Healthy masculinity is to say, I am here. Anyone can join or anyone can leave. Mm-hmm. I'm here and I'm on my journey. And when we create that space of not needing from anyone, but just being permission for everyone we come in contact with to feel safe, that's when we're like,
exactly. Yeah. It's really that being that container, right?
Yeah.
And not necessarily controlling anything, but just being the safe container for the feminine chaos and creativity to fully express itself.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that could be within two brothers or two women, vice versa, because we all have feminine and masculine energies
Exactly.
within
It's
us.
not a gender thing for sure.
Right,
Yes.
right. So even myself, if I'm in a position where I'm in my masculine energy and I'm creating the safe container for you, and you're having a breakdown,
Yeah.
then you feel safe in my masculine energy to be in your, maybe it's wounded feminine energy to fully express yourself. And we all get to hold space for each other. And I think that it really is coming into that wisdom of knowing that yes, we all have feminine and masculine energies within us,
Mm,
and the more that we honor and acknowledge that, the more that we can honor and respect the opposite sex.
yes. Yes. That's beautiful. It's I've wondered how we've forgotten what exploring is. Like, how did humans make it to, how did we go from the East Coast pilgrims to pioneering the Great Rocky Mountains to the West Coast? I mean, there was this definite grit inside humanity. And obviously, that's just modern history of 400 years, but humanity has had this self determination, this strength, this inner knowing, this capability, and we've lost that somehow, but we want to find it again. And so I think when you're saying like the masculine creating that safe space, it's not exploring new worlds so much as it's exploring new parts of us and feeling safe, because there's so much inner world that is vast and needs to be tamed or needs to be let loose or needs to be known and
Mhm.
discovered. And yeah, whether that's feminine or masculine.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to fear and comfort. And
Mm,
so, for example, like our ego is designed to keep us safe,
right.
right? So that's why anytime we want to take a leap or do something that scares us, our ego, our mind chatter, or the monkey mind is saying, no, 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 you're okay as you are. Just stay right here, and that's where people recognize that we, quote unquote, self sabotage ourselves.
Right.
Um, and so, really, I always tell people that in life, there's no right or wrong. There's only exploration.
Mm,
And I learned this from one of my really good friends, Kevin Walton. And he actually showed me that yes, there's no right or wrong. We're just here to explore different levels of consciousness, whether it's more dense consciousness that brings more pain and suffering and sorrow, or more higher levels of consciousness that brings more unity, love, and joy.
that's beautiful. And what do you think? Because there are some people um, that would use those terms like love, light, joy, like higher consciousness, but seem to also be stuck in this in between world where they have one foot in the 3D dense and then one foot in the 5D perhaps. And like,
Mhm.
what do you think causes that, or as just an observation?
Yeah, it's social conditioning.
Mm,
From the moment we are out of the womb, especially if you're born in a hospital, you're literally put into this little box, right? And then you grow up and you go to elementary school, you're in this little box, and now, God bless the children, they're
yeah,
literally in plastic boxes wearing masks. And so society is grooming humans to be in this box, right? And if you don't fit this box, then you're signaled out and you're different, and you're probably bullied for being different.
right.
And so people are really afraid to be themselves because, um, even as boys, they tell boys don't cry.
Yeah, that's right.
Girls have to wear this. Girls play with Barbies, boys play with cars.
Yeah,
And so it's like this social conditioning where we're not even most of us, we're not even aware of our unconscious programming. And I feel that the more we have profound enlightening experiences where our pineal gland and our third eye is opening and blossoming, we get glimpses of true freedom, true unity, true love. However, the unconscious patterns and our ego is still stuck, has the other foot in the other realms. And so it's just deprogramming and unlearning, and everybody's doing it at their own pace. That's why we can't really judge anybody. We just have compassion.
that's right. No, that's really beautiful. for the pineal gland, I was telling you heard the episode with Lauren and I, and
Yes.
the pineal gland, I didn't really even hear about that until 2020 or late 2019. And now, I mean, I've cut 2020 was such an interesting year where I cut out antiperspirant deodorant and all the aluminum. I cut out
Fluoride in your
fluoride
toothpaste.
toothpaste. I cut out tap water. Um, yeah, like no more fluoride at the dentist. None of, yeah. So what are some other ways that we can open up our third eye and clean the pineal gland? Because I think if that happens, man, so many beautiful things will take place just automatically.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I definitely want to acknowledge the fact that there are all of these things, as you mentioned, that are numbing our third eye and pineal gland. And right now, we have a society that is pointing laser guns at our third eye, right? And that is so part of the distorted agenda to really cut us off from our spirituality. And so if you have a job where you constantly have to get your temperature checked, ask them to check your temperature on your neck or your wrist, not your third eye, not your pineal gland. And you're going to notice a difference. Also, drink alkaline water. And so the one of the most incredible ways to activate your third eye every morning is by waking up, warming up some water, adding some lemon or some lime, and drinking that on an empty stomach. That's going to help decalcify your pineal gland and cleanse out all of the toxins that you release during your sleep. Another, as you and I, we share the love for this, is plant medicine,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, really working with the earth's medicines, and she helps us connect so many different neurosynapses in our brain that may have been disconnected, and bring up certain unconscious patterns and shadows. And the more that we observe and acknowledge, the more our pineal gland gets activated. And so I actually went on a journey on New Year's Eve with a dear friend, and it was his first time. And so I was constantly, holding space and checking in. I said, what are you feeling? What are you seeing? And he's like, I just see these layers. And I'm like, okay, great. That means that you're removing the different filters from
Mm,
your third eye, because so many of us put these filters over our pineal gland, over our third eye, and then we have a very clouded perspective on life. And so once we go into those realms, we're just taking off all of the walls, all of the filters, and we're finally clearing up our vision, right? And 2020 was all about that. It was all about 2020 vision, and really seeing things from a higher perspective, whether it was good or bad. And as you know, there is no such thing, but really getting like clear insight on what's really at hand.
that's beautiful. Hold on, I got an old dog that's wanting to get out of my office.
So cute.
Um, I the yeah, the plant medicine. Um, I can't say enough about the importance of it, and I think it's one thing that people. My observation of like people dabbling into spirituality, or and I don't even like the word spirituality, just soul liberation is what I like to think of all this is, like our sovereign liberated soul. But they'll do meditation, they'll try yoga, they'll read some books, they'll listen to some podcasts, but then it's like, hey, a beautiful opportunity would be to sit in ceremony together. And it's like, whoa, no. And then I'm like, do you realize though that the aversion that you have to this is an aversion that you carry with you of what other things are you missing out? Because like, whoa, and the conditioning of whoever, the parents or society.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do step into that sacred space, it is heavenly. It's heavenly. Like when I saw you in you came in this journey, and you didn't come necessarily physical form, or it was just like, wow, you are I am here to learn with you and from you, and you are so street smart. That was the thing. And But it was in that journey was I had things literally melt and dissolve away that I've been holding. I was crying, and it was wild that I was crying because I have not cried on a journey in a very long time. And it wasn't
Mhm.
sobbing, it's just my just tears just pouring down my face because it was time to let go of these things that no longer serve me. And the thing that I saw dissolve was I used to hide in the attic at this home that I lived in, and that was the only place that I was safe.
Mm.
And I remember how warm the plywood felt on my back. I remember there was like a little light with a chain that you could pull and turn it on. I would sit there in the darkness and I would just listen in the house. And that was my safe space that no one could ever touch me.
Yeah.
And then I associated Legos that I've been giving my son. I've kept my Legos since I was a kid, like perfectly intact ships and all these things. And I've said I've given it to him, but I was like, don't ruin them. Don't. Even today, I'm even practicing. They're like, can we play with your Legos? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Thinking they're no longer mine. And then they're like, can we go upstairs with them? I'm like, well, make sure you keep them all together. Like it's still, there's still some tie to that. But I saw all that dissolve away, the Legos, that room that's not me anymore.
Mhm.
And I could breathe more deeply afterwards, even right now talking about it. And there is no way my conscious brain could ever bring all that depth and all that innocence and all that timed safe space that is no longer needed today to my
Beautiful.
conscious mind had I not had this experience with the medicine. So
That's so beautiful. Yeah, it's recognizing that whatever external space or thing in those times that made you feel safe is no longer needed because you already have the recognition that you're safe no matter what.
right, exactly.
Mhm.
When what was your journey into plant medicine and your experience in did you have a perception of it and like yeah, your whole journey into it?
Mm. Yeah, I began journeying with Mother Aya in 2015.
Mm,
And the first time that I journeyed, I didn't have any visions. I just felt really grounded and really connected to the fire and really connected to my brothers and sisters in the circle. It
mm,
was with a Colombian taita, and it was 50 people. So I felt a little uncomfortable about the size of the group, and I just felt like, okay, well, I'm really not going to let loose and go far because this guy's not going to look out for me, like
yeah.
I have. And I've always been that warrior, like I got myself, I got this. So yeah, it was a huge unveiling because after that, and even the next morning when they were going around and cleansing everybody, I actually spoke about this on the podcast last time, and I hope that people didn't. I don't think I expressed it clearly enough, but basically, alcohol is not meant to be ingested. It's meant to be placed over your aura to cleanse your aura, and then the shaman would put it in his mouth, not swallow it, but spray it from his mouth to the aura. And I was very vain. I'm Colombian, so that's part of our culture. We're very vain. And I was thinking to my ego was like, oh hell no, he's gonna spit in my face. Oh no, I didn't sign up for this shit. I get me out of here. And I was kind of losing my shit a little bit, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think I was 24 or 25. And I started talking to my friend who was next to me. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't let him spit in my face. And because I was talking, I got signaled out by the shaman and was told to be quiet. And then my ego got another hit because I'm a very rebellious soul. I'm an indigo star seed. And so I don't like authority telling me what to do. And I was like, oh, hell no, this is really not happening. And it was so beautiful because I got to reflect on that after. Like, okay, you had this beautiful ceremony for the very first time. You didn't go super deep, you didn't have all these visions. However, the next morning is when the ceremony actually began, and you really had to face off with your ego
Mm.
And of course, I let him do it. He ended up spraying me completely from head to toe with this alcohol and cleansing me. And I realized that it was actually for my highest good. It was actually cleansing me. And so I definitely didn't go into medicine work as deeply as a lot of my friends have, where they're sitting every week or every month.
Yeah.
For me, it was more of a, okay, this is medicine, so I'm going to drink it when I'm feeling ill or sick on a soul level, but I'm not going to abuse it, because I'm very observant. You know, my background is in psychology, and I'm also very psychic and clairvoyant, and I saw how a lot of people who had addictions to alcohol or drugs were replacing one addiction for the other.
Mm.
And so, yes, I advocate for plant medicine because it has helped me heal so much. And also, I ask everyone to be very responsible, because it can become another journey of addiction if you aren't mindful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so if you are feeling good in your life, if you're feeling grounded, if you feel fully integrated, like you have made friends with your ego and you have taken full responsibility for your ego. That's something that came through actually yesterday. Um, I heard it in a meditation. Your ego is not your enemy. Your ego is your biggest responsibility, just like a child.
Mm.
And so it's up to us to really guide and pave the way for our ego, because our ego is always trying to keep us safe and protect us. And then our soul is the one that gets to come in and say, hey, we're already safe. You have nothing to worry about. Like, why don't you sit in the back seat? Here's a cookie.
Yeah.
And let me drive. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of allowing the ego to take the wheel and call the shots.
Right.
And so something that, I really just want to share is that plant medicine actually isn't for everybody, because not everybody has the capacity to be shown all of their shit.
Yeah.
They might lose their mind.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not for them right now. And once they do some more deeper work, they do the yoga, they do the juice fast, they journal, do the shadow work, hire a therapist or whatever, and then they um, arrive at a space where they can harness more. They have more of a capacity to harness more of life and the universe and the cosmos.
Yeah.
That way it's not going to be so much of a shock, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
And I always tell people also, you don't go looking for the medicine
Yes.
calls you when you're
Yes.
ready for it.
That's right. That's really important, to
Hmm.
hear the calling versus seeking an adventure or some,
A trip.
yeah, trip or recreational. Um, yeah, because it's gonna drop the ego, and then it's gonna reveal what what you need to work on. And some people that are not in that place, you're right. If not, I really, if someone asked me, like, what do you think? And I said, I think everyone should do emotional intelligence work before entering that space. But once you have the tools and like the groundedness and capacity to not fear, but look at fear and understand the tool of it, then you can step into that space. But like you, my very first ayahuasca journey, um, I didn't get like all these big downloads. I started walking like a dinosaur. And my friends and these beautiful, amazing souls said, just let them. So I don't know, ceremonies are different, but in this one you can walk around and,
Keep sharing. I'm just going to turn on the light.
okay, no problem. And so they said, whatever the medicine like calls you to and leads you to, just go with it. So all of a sudden I started walking and my legs were like, I was just boom, boom, boom. And I felt like I was shooting roots into the earth. And I realized that that was the first time I was actually activating my root chakra, because my whole life it wasn't safe to be on earth. And I used to tell people, I don't want to be human. I want to be like this ethereal clothing to the Holy Spirit. If I would just like, holiness was like not being human. I thought it was like, this is a great curse to be a human. And once I realized, no, it's the greatest blessing to bring the divine into this human experience. It totally, Oh, it's just totally changed my whole perspective. And um, it was
Yeah.
just so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you share that because it's true. Like once you already have knowledge of self and you know who you are at some level, whenever you go into a plant medicine ceremony and all of these shadows get revealed, you have an anchor point
Yeah.
to say, well, yes, this happened and this is in my subconscious mind. However, this is who I am right now and it's safe to be here now. And when people go into an ayahuasca ceremony and they haven't done previous work, it's really hard for them to integrate into the 3D again. And a lot of people struggle for like a couple of months understanding like, whoa, we live in a complete illusion and like everybody has lost their mind, everybody's brainwashed, like all these things because the third eye is so open.
Yeah.
So I really believe that you have to have some sort of anchor in who you are and what you're here to do before you open those portals,
Mm,
right?
yeah, that's beautiful. And as you're saying that, even when I lead men's retreats, I lead a cacao ceremony with the men, and I have ceremonial grade cacao, and that's just pure. What is it? The paste of the cocoa bean, like pasted down. I mean, there's nothing. It's the cacao plant, whatever it is, but I mean, it's unprocessed to its purest form. But I will get these different ones from like Belize or Tanzania or different ones, and they have a masculine energy or a feminine energy. And so what I'll do is like we'll do one night in the masculine, and I'll have like war drums playing like doom, 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 and there's a flute like doo 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 doo. These guys are sitting, and I'm leading them through a guided meditation as they are sipping the cacao, and it's very like this one cacao. It's very masculine energy, and it's so beautiful and so safe. It's like this. What is a warrior sitting back around a fire back in the day in darkness? There's no electricity, just a tent keeping him from the predator and his enemy. But he goes to sleep and just knowing like, doom, doom, doom. It was beautiful. To the next night, we have this very feminine energy cacao, and it was expansive and magical. And guys are seeing visions, and all it is chocolate. Like cacao. But it's serotonin flooding the mind and allowing. So it
Yeah, it's
doesn't
the
have
fruit
to
of
be
the God.
exactly. It doesn't have to be a psychedelic. It doesn't have to be psychoactive. It just there's so many different plants in ceremony and so healing and
Yeah, and
oh
people are having profound experiences like psychedelic visions on just pure breath work and
yes,
Kundalini yoga.
yes,
There's so like there's no wrong or right. There's just explorations. If you want to follow the yogic path and really tap into your highest self through that, then that's beautiful. If you want to follow the shamanic path and tap into plant medicines, that's beautiful too. Me
yes.
personally, I'm like you. I didn't travel all of these galaxies and through space and time to not work with the Earth's
Right,
magical medicine.
right. That's right. That's right.
Like we're here. I'm definitely gonna commune with her and her magic.
Yes. There's a documentary that Paul Stamets did. It is the coolest. It's like I think it's called Magical Fungi or Fungi. And what they do is they take you below the Earth's surface and all the mycelium, and it looks like a brain network under the earth, right under our crust where we walk every day. All the mushrooms on the earth communicate to each other, and it's like the brain synapses of the planet.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
from coming from a place of ego that I had been in for so many years of I thought I knew everything and I was very articulate in my knowing, specifically in religion and the Bible, and I could assassinate someone verbally with scripture and they'd be like, what? And I like to all of a
Oh
sudden have this
Lord.
grand humbling though of like, I know nothing. What do I know? I mean, there's so much more to know and be, and just it's such a humbling that I don't need to know. I know what I need to know, but to walk in love and to walk in light and to have no fear and to create safe space and to celebrate others' awakenings. And as a birth, we celebrate birth if we celebrate the awakening in others
And death.
and death. That's right.
Yeah. I truly believe that a person's strength is in how vulnerable they can get, how much they allow themselves to feel. Because anybody can, cite a book,
Yeah.
anybody can learn words, but can anybody feel? Can everybody actually allow themselves to be flooded by their human emotions? Some people are terrified of that. Terrified. And that's like the most beautiful thing. It makes me so emotional to know that people haven't cried for years
Yeah.
because they're so afraid to feel the depths of their pain or even their joy. Like, have you ever cried of bliss, of happiness?
Yes. Yes. It's
It's so magical, right?
for me, it was healing. Like, I was so happy and I was just crying, like, oh, and I was aware, you're like, whoa, I'm crying. I'm so happy right now. Yeah, to me, it's magical. It's magical.
It's so beautiful. And so the way that I see it is when we cry, our soul is running a marathon and it needs our eyes to sweat. Yeah.
That makes me want to cry. That's so beautiful. That is so beautiful.
And so, anybody who is listening to this or watching this, if you have children, let them cry. Let them fully express that and help them feel safe in doing so. Because when we make somebody wrong, especially a child, for being a human being and really allowing our sacred waters to emerge, then we're robbing somebody of their humanity. And we don't want that. We want more integrated children who will come in and truly step in as the world leaders that we require in this new generation, because we're in a little bit of trouble right now.
Yeah.
And it's because they have spent, society has spent a large amount of energy in and cutting away our personality and putting us in these boxes. And so it's up to us, the earth warriors, the earth angels, to really come in and empower the children and say, you are beautiful in all the aspects that you are, whether you are screaming, laughing, or crying. You're beautiful, you're perfect. Express yourself just as you are and create from that space.
And the authority that children carry is so high. It is so powerful. And that's why the darkness needs to take away their voice. It's because when a child actually speaks, the whole conditioning is be quiet, be seen, not heard, or be not be seen nor be heard. But their voices, they're so close to source coming from that space, and yeah, that's really beautiful, is empowering them to speak, and that when they say yes, it's yes, and when they say no, it's no, and no one can cross their sovereign will. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that the reason why so many adults and parents in particular are so quick to silence a child is because children are our biggest teachers and they bring up all of our triggers.
yeah,
Whatever we have been hiding or doing our best to suppress, a child will come in like a blank, empty cosmic mirror and show us exactly what it is that we're ready to face off with. And because so many humans lack emotional intelligence and that emotional capacity to be able to do that shadow work and not make it about the children, but instead make it about themselves and say, okay, there's something to learn here, there's something to process and integrate, they go and they take it out on the child. And children are here to ask questions. They're sponges.
yes,
And it's really up to us to help them fully develop all on their own without imposing our beliefs, without imposing our limitations and the way that we see things and perspectives, because they're way more awakened than we are.
yeah,
We're here to learn from them,
right, right. It is it's a struggle, it's a challenge for those who, if they're still so much in ego that they, what, how would I say this? I've seen with men at men's retreats that I lead, and when these guys come, and even for myself, I mean, I'm speaking from experience that when I was speaking to my children to validate me versus healing myself and really listening to them, there's a huge difference in that. Me proving that I am the father, the authority, or me creating such a safe environment that they can be and say and do and act however in, because all children, this is I really believe, children are just proving what love is. I'm going to act. Do you still love me? I'm going to act. Are you still love me? I'm going to act. Do you still love me? And they are, I love this term Lauren was saying, the terms and conditions. They're learning the terms and conditions. And our job is to do the healing as adults, to realize that there are no terms and conditions. This is unconditional, and that they are loved no matter what they say, what they do, how they act, what soul choices they made in this earth. Like, they're loved, and they can always come back, and we'll always embrace.
Oh,
uh,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And children will, they are the essence of that feminine chaos that just wants to push and explore and like, what else can I do? Like, I love watching mothers with like their 2-year-olds, because their 2-year-olds are just like, one moment they're like smiling, and then the other moment they're like running away from them, like into the street. And it's because
Yeah.
they get a thrill from seeing how to push
Yes.
everyone's buttons.
Yes.
So make it a game, make it playful, and children really do love authority on some level.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
because okay, for example, like when I was a child, I I was I could really see what was going on, and I could read people's minds and all of the things. And so I knew who to trust based on who was in command of their own energy,
Yeah.
right? And so some adult that was telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that, la 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 la, I would kind of laugh and be like, okay, watch me.
Right.
Like that's like my indigo nature. Like, okay, you tell me I can do, watch me. I will do it.
I
And
love
then another adult who would say something along the lines of, you're free to express yourself.
it.
This is going to get you heard. This is where you can go. Would make me that's what would make me feel safe to
Yes.
really express myself,
Yes.
and I would put on shows and dance in front of my family and all of these things. So then there's a difference between clipping a child's wings in order to keep them safe and telling them these are the parameters in where you can fly, where you will be safe.
That's
Because
right.
if you do go out there, then there's a high chance that you would get hurt.
That's so beautiful. That's boundaries. Boundaries create freedom. And,
Yes.
that's the term. Fences make good neighbors. Um, because, well, but boundaries
Yeah.
create freedom, and that's really beautiful. I want more people to follow and support you and listen to you. And um, what's next? What are you doing next? Like, I feel like every post, you spend a lot of time in design. You do. I just love everything you're doing. So what else are you up to? You're creating and
Thank you.
making beauty
Yeah.
in this world.
Thank you so much. I definitely put a lot of time and energy into putting out content on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram at Light Codes,
Mm.
because I really feel that I'm here to help people download the codes of light. And that is with also embracing the shadow and integrating it and not spiritually bypassing any aspect. Because, like you and I were talking before, the light and the darkness work together to help us evolve.
Yes.
So you can follow me through there or go on my website, lightcodeswellness.com, and you can book a private session with me. We basically would just get on Zoom and I become an empty mirror. Whatever you express to me, I can mirror back to you. Your angels and guides will more than likely share perspectives that I will share with you.
Hmm.
And yeah, you'll receive some codes that will help you integrate and really align with your highest ascension timeline and highest self. Um, and right now we're on day 5 of the 28 days of Light Codes Challenge. And it's been so profound. I've been getting so much positive, beautiful feedback from over 50 people who signed up,
Wow.
which is really, it's so humbling and so beautiful because this is my first time I ever create an online offering. And so thank you to everyone who has signed up. Thank you to all of you space cadets and consciousness pioneers who are going on this journey with me. The enrollments are closed for that. So if you'd like to join the next time it opens, it's more than likely going to be in March for, the spring, which is new beginnings as well. Um, so yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'm really excited to continue expressing more of my voice. This is my second podcast ever.
So on.
And
So cool.
thank you so much for opening this invitation to me to share and express. It's something that has been wanting to come out of me for many years, but I guess the my past life traumas of being burned at the stake and tortured for speaking and being different got me into a lot of trouble. And so I've suppressed my voice for a really long time. And 2020 was that year that just really said, if you don't do this, you're going to regret it the rest of your life. And, the universe really showed me like, you're being selfish, keeping all of these messages to yourself. And it's time for you to openly share them. So this is my blossoming, this is my unfolding. I finally feel safe to do so and to shine my light brighter. And I'm just really grateful for all of the beautiful souls who are supporting me in this blossoming and in my journey, because it really is just the beginning.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You're beautiful. I'm so thankful for you. Thank you. Do you play the guitar?
I'm trying to learn a little bit
I just see you
in
playing
my altar.
plain. Just keep going. I just love you and support you and thank you. Thank you for thank you. Thank you for showing me the gene keys. Thank you for shining brightly and you're
Oh,
blessing people.
we never even spoke about the Magdalene Maddie script.
Oh yeah, I'm reading that right now. That's also beautiful. Oh my gosh, there's so many things. That was another thing that came through. That is what I have a lot to learn from you at the journey. That's right. Yes.
That can be
Well,
another podcast
that
all
could
on
be
its own.
yeah, that'll be our third. That'll be beautiful. I'll read a little bit more. I'm like, I don't know, 20 pages in or so, but it's so beautiful. And
Oh my
also
God.
it's a
Wait, can I ask you something?
yeah.
Have you read the part where Magdalene says the church is a whore?
Yes. 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 Well, it's so fascinating. Revelation calls come out of the great whore of Babylon, and that is the church. And then every Protestant denomination is a breakaway of I mean, it just
I'm so excited to dive deep into this.
oh my gosh, I can't wait. And it's interesting, like that book, and that guy lives, the guy who channeled that lives near
Companion.
here, yeah, and lives in the state of Washington, or supposedly. I'm like, there's a lot of, and he lives on one of the islands in the Puget Sound, and there's so many people out there that are incredible living on these islands, like away from the kinetic
Right.
energy of Seattle area. But
Yeah.
um, that book also aligns a lot to like Dolores Cannon stuff, and it's just so beautiful. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, it's beautiful. I love you. Good job. Thank you for everything. You're doing awesome. And everyone, please go follow Daniela and just do yourself a favor and, and follow her content. And sis, I can't wait for number 3.
Oh, so grateful for you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really honored to be walking this path with you once again in this lifetime. And I'm so excited for what's to come.
And this time we live.
And this time we live. Yes. And we thrive.
Yes. 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 Sister, thank you. I love you so much. I'm so honored to walk with you. And everyone listening, I bless you all. Just keep going. Just stay grounded. Do the breath work. Place your hands on your heart. Close your energy loop. Ground into the ground. Put your feet under the ground and receive the energy and be present for everything you're about to witness must come to pass. Every lie must be exposed. Truth is the only thing that will make us free. And it is time for our freedom. I bless you all. I'm Lucas Mack. This is the Golden Rule Revolution, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. For support in your journey, go to my website, lucasmack.com.